Hi everyone, thanks for joining. We'll give a couple of minutes for others to join in and then we'll get started. And just a
Melissa,
reminder,
this is
sorry. Yes.
Melissa, this is Juan Camarena. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm using my phone this time. I just want to make sure it works.
Yeah, you're good. And I just realized I'll forward out right now what you sent yesterday. I've had a really crazy morning, so I'm a little behind. But I will send what you sent out to the network. So if you want to reference it today, everybody has access.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I want to pass on today.
Okay, perfect. Well, we have you guys on the agenda in a bit. So we'll start in a couple of minutes so we can make sure to get through everything. And if you're on the call and you did not receive the meeting update with the agenda via email, you can definitely email ilavistacommunitynetwork@gmail.com and that will alert me to add you. Whew. I think everybody is currently muted. Also, it looks like there's a host mute, so just make sure to unmute before you want to talk. Go back here. Of course, as I try to rapid fire email everybody something, my computer is like, what are you doing? Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry. I just emailed out the document that Lieutenant Camarena sent over yesterday about community policing. So that just hit your email. Sorry, it's a little bit in live time. But that's just what it is. Let me just open my agenda. Okay. So we like to start these meetings with a land acknowledgement. Even though we're meeting virtually, we're still within Chumash territory. So I would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Chumash people and pay our respects to elders both past and present. We honor the traditional territory as well as the story and contributions of the Chumash people to the land upon which we gather and create. So welcome to our currently bi-weekly meeting of the Isla Vista Community Network. Oh, thank you, Mark. You're a legend. Mark just put my email into the chat so everybody has access to that. Thank you. I'm Melissa. I'm the co-op's general manager. I'm one of the network's co-facilitators. There's a group of us that trades off. And as you might have been reading in email, we're also looking for more folks that might be interested in joining the facilitation group. Pretty low impact. We haven't added more people just out of a lack of time to really engage. We got a few interested people in the last email I sent, but another plug, if you're interested in doing facilitation and helping us sort of structure this meeting moving forward, just shoot an email to the Gmail, and that would be awesome. I'll be replying back to everybody over the next week, probably to just sort of arrange how that could work. Any questions about any of that stuff before we jump in? Okay. So we kind of went back to the standard agenda. It can definitely be a fluid agenda depending on everybody's updates and how much time we need. We just thought for the interest of saving time that running with the old school agenda made the most sense for low impact for the facilitators. So we'll start with introductions. I will go in order of participant screen and see if I don't mess that up as people join. So I'm Melissa. I'm the Food Co-op's general manager. I also serve on a few different committees between campus and Isla Vista, usually around food security. Yeah, and I've been helping co-facilitate the network for like, I don't know, 7 years now or something. It's fun. How about Jonathan?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan. I'm with the Isla Vista Community Service District.
And Joan?
Joan Hartman, 3rd District County Supervisor.
Thanks, Joan. Viren? Veer, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Viren Singh, Isla Vista Business Association.
Cool. And Aaron?
Hi, Aaron Jones, Director of the Educational Opportunity Program, UC Santa Barbara.
Deborah?
Hi, everyone. I'm the Assistant General Manager at the Isla Vista Community Services District.
And Derek?
Hi, everyone. Derek Marzano, UCPD Community Outreach Team.
Awesome. Bianca?
Hi, everyone. Bianca Orozco, Community Education Coordinator at Standing Together to End Sexual Assault.
And Diana?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Diana Puente. I'm with Associated Students.
How about Elijah?
Hi, everyone. Elijah Ettinger here, working on community engagement for Cookies Cannabis.
Awesome. Leonor's mic isn't working, but Leonor's on the call from St. George Youth Center. Thanks for calling, Leonor. How about Gary?
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Gary. I'm Tori Saunders of the Community Outreach Team for UCSB Police Department.
And Gary Gaston, UCSB Police Department Community Outreach.
And Ariel is listening in. He's just not on screen. We're trying to maintain our social distancing.
Awesome. Good thinking. What with all of the COVID? That's not funny. How about Grace?
I'm Grace Aldrich. I'm a KCSB news reporter working on COVID in Isla Vista.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace. And Jackie? Jackie, can you hear me? Oh, there you are.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Jackie Curta, Director, UCSB Alcohol and Drug Program at Student Health.
Great. And how about Jay?
Jay Freeman, Isla Vista Community Services District, but I'm not representing them today. I'm here in my personal capacity.
Awesome. And Jeremy?
Jeremy Rourke, psychologist, food co-op board member, and Food Not Bombs volunteer.
Awesome. And Juan?
Hi, my connection was bad earlier, but I think it's good now. Is it my turn?
You can go, sure.
Okay, I'm Ash. I'm involved in Food Not Bombs, Ecovista, and other things. Nice to see you all today.
Awesome. And Juan, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Juan Camarena, Lieutenant with the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office, currently the station commander for the Isla Vista Foot Patrol Station.
Thanks for calling. How about Julia?
Hi, Julia from Food Not Bombs.
Cool. And Katerina?
Hi, this is Catarina Zamora with the Alcohol and Drug Program through Behavioral Wellness County, Santa Barbara.
And Katya?
Sorry. There we go. I was double dipping. Katya Armistead, AVC and Dean of Student Life at UCSB. Hi, everyone.
Thanks, Katya. And how about Kim?
Hi, everyone. Kim Equinoa from the Dean of Students Office at UCSB. Good to see everyone.
Lisa Osborne.
Hi, I'm Lisa Osborne, News and Public Affairs Director at KCSB.
Lisa Oglesby.
Hi, Lisa Oglesby, Isla Vista Food Co-op Board of Directors.
How about Lori?
Hi, Lori Goodman, Isla Vista Youth Projects.
Hi, Lori. How about Mark?
Hi, everyone. Mark Fuchsovich, he and his chair of the Public Safety Commission.
And Omari?
Hello, everyone. Omari Pryor, UCSB Alcohol and Drug Program.
And how about Viviana?
Hi, Viviana Marzano, Office of Student Life. I have a brief announcement. Census update, because of the pandemic, the census was moved back. And now last week, they informed us that they are shortening the period to respond for a month. So instead of having until October 31st, we only have until September 30th to answer the census. In Isla Vista, we are having very low response rates, so I will be pestering everybody to help us spread the word. And yesterday, I received 40 yard signs about the census that I think I was very ambitious to request 40. So now I'm trying to basically distribute them. So I can think of a lot of places in IV where you can put them. So in the chat, can you just write to me if you want a sign, your org, of course, and how many? And then I will make arrangements to drop it off. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivi. Sorry, I lost track. Spencer.
Hi, everyone. Spencer Brandt, president of the Isla Vista CSD.
Spencer. And Yasmin?
Hi, everyone. Yasmin Solari, Associated Students, EVPLA.
Great. Did I miss anyone as more people signed on through intros?
I'll just quickly introduce myself. So I'm Naomi Kovacs. I'm with Supervisor Hartman's office, and just want to let everyone know that if things go as planned, this is probably, I think this is my last meeting with you all, because Gina Fisher will be coming back from maternity leave.
Thank you for your contributions. I'm sorry I missed you on the list. It kept repopulating, but it's been great to have you and your insights. So thank you for joining as you were able to. Okay, so if there's no other intros, we actually will jump right into the 3rd District report. I put on here, just based on seeing info that came through our emails, a little bit about community cannabis, but definitely more updates than that are very welcome. This was just one that popped through that felt important to address. So take it away, 3rd District.
Well, this is Joan Hartman, and I will start. And I'll start with cannabis. As you know, we did have a community meeting that was sponsored by Barney Malekian of our CEO's office with planning and development and others. And there was basically, it was kind of one directional, talking about the cannabis retail and how the process will unfold. On September 1st, the Board of Supervisors will be putting the finishing touches and approve a form to evaluate the projects. I am planning to host a meeting, and I've asked if the IV network could do it. My office would do this, and we would be simply asking the question, what is community benefit mean to you? And get people's response about that. And I'm sure that the retail applicants would be listening carefully. And it also gives then a basis. My office and I will have nothing to do with evaluating these projects, but we can, the people who would be evaluating would be listening. And that way we can get a community specific sense about what community benefit means. I hope that we might also have some weighting so that we get a sense of what people value most. And so 3 of the 6 are in the 3rd district. So my office will be hosting this very straightforward kind of Zoom collaboration. What does community benefit mean in your community? What does it mean to you? So that's one thing. Let's see. The other thing is that August 21st is the final day for signing up to be an applicant. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll get picked for the redistricting, the Independent Redistricting Commission. As you know, the census is critically important for many reasons, one of which is that it's how we get one person, one vote for various kinds of political districts. And so when the new census information comes in, that's time for us to redraw the supervisor's boundaries. We've done that in the past through the board, but now we have an independent redistricting commission. And I'll just explain very briefly how it works. Using the current 5 districts, we will have a pool of applicants for each, and that's what people can qualify for now. It'll be a lottery at a board meeting where there are basically 5 pots with qualified candidates determined by the elections office, and the DA will just randomly select one from each of the 5 districts. Then those 5 will go back to each of the districts and look at the qualified applicants that are in the pool, and on the basis of diversity of gender, economics, ethnic, racial background, try to put together a pool that looks like the county as a whole. That so there'll be the original 5, they'll pick another 5 from each of those 5 districts, and then there'll be one person at large. This is, I can't tell you how important this is. Isla Vista is at the center of much of the discussion always. There's usually a debate about whether IV should be divided or whether it should be kept together. And I imagine that this will be no different than past debates where that's critical. So I'm strongly encouraging people to apply for the redistricting commission. I've already twisted Melissa's arm. I hope she will consider it. But Aaron, you would be another one, or Jay. Maybe Jay, you can't because you already run. But I can send out to you what it takes to qualify and what disqualifies. And if you've given any money to a political campaign up to $500, then you're disqualified. If you're active in the political party like Spencer, he's disqualified. So we're looking for people who have some expertise planning or quantitative statistics, appreciating community identity, those sorts of things. So it's you'll be a public figure if you stand up and are selected for this, because there'll be a lot of it'll bring a lot of debate and discussion, because it's really the future of the county for another 10 years. And that, I think, concludes my report, unless there are any questions. Naomi may have some things to add.
Have an update, but I want to make sure nobody has questions for Joan first.
I have one. Joan, you mentioned a campaign contribution of $500 disqualifies you. That's specific to a campaign contribution for one of those running.
Yes, supervisor.
What type of office? Supervisor. Okay.
Just supervisor. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to run in the future, then you can't be on the commission.
I just need to get to, I lost my page here. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay. So hold on. Oh, sorry. My computer is doing very odd things. Bear with me. I just have an update on the Pasado Road improvement project, if I can get there. Okay. So somebody had asked at a prior meeting about they weren't sure, they thought it was the Pardal Sidewalk Safety Improvement Project. It's actually Passato Road. So the location is on the south side, just to orient you up. Oh, shoot. Just to orient you, the location is the south side of Passato Road between Camino Corto and Camino Pescadero. The project is building a continuous pedestrian path or sidewalk along one side of the street. The current status is that the initial letters to residents went out to notify them of the project, of the general work, the schedule, and the need for a temporary right of entry to construct sidewalk in a public right of way, but adjacent to private property. Several driveways are going to need to be modified to achieve the ADA standards. And the project will involve some tree removals. So just heads up on that. And Public Works is working closely with the RPD and the county arborist to preserve as many trees as they can and to find appropriate places for mitigation where they need to do that. So right now the construction is scheduled for November, December timeframe, although it could be subject to change. So if anybody has any questions, you can let me know and I'll direct you to Brittany, who can answer your questions from Public Works. And that's my update.
Are there any questions to follow up with Naomi or Joan with their updates? Well, Naomi, if that's your very last ever update for Ivcn, thank you so much for showing up and being here and keeping us informed. And we'll welcome Gina back, hopefully with a baby photo. One thing to follow up with what Joan had mentioned, we were talking about the possibility of utilizing an Ivcn meeting time and structure actually to help potentially hold the community cannabis input follow-up meeting. And so it felt potentially useful because we're already here in meeting. There's a lot of stakeholders. It's very, across Isla Vista and beyond. And it might be a nice dedicated time that a lot of people already have on their calendar to call in. So that's something that we're ruminating about. If there's any follow-up concerns or considerations around that, of course, you can email or we can talk for a couple of minutes now about it. It's definitely not set in stone. It's just a rumination that it might be useful. So if anybody has thoughts, feel free to, speak now if you want to, or email offline if you have a concern about that.
I wonder if it'd be easy to do like when we have Ivcn every other week now, if we use the other weeks the off weeks to do the cannabis discussion.
Yes, thank you for saying that. That's kind of exactly how Jana and I were sort of thinking about this, that the structure opportunity for how Ivcn can be a little less frequent, but then also creating a space that would allow for some version, maybe right now it's the cannabis conversation, but maybe in a future month it's something around, houseless community support, that we're actually in a way creating more opportunity to have richer engagement around that and letting Ivcn sort of be that place. It wouldn't take the place of a regular meeting, but it would allow us to breathe away from, weekly meetings and maybe even bi-weekly meetings, but create more intentional reasons to come together to actually address and solve these community challenges or needs. So thank you, Jeremy, for that. It feels super aligned with what we're hoping for. And again, if you're interested in helping to think on that level about Ivcn, please shoot me an email. That's sort of what we're trying to do with the idea of a few more facilitators and just sort of thinking more expansively about who we are, why we're here, and what our opportunity is being a really legitimate organization that can hold some more of these things with an easy access to multi-stakeholders from so many places. So thank you. Any follow-up questions for third district as the garbage truck goes off in the background? Okay, so we're moving into COVID-19 messaging and community effort updates. I put on here also a little space for houseless community updates if we have them. I wanted to make sure that it ended up just regularly back on the agenda. So does anybody want to offer any updates from what y'all are working on? General COVID things.
Is there any, we talking general COVID or houseless stuff?
Well, I framed it under COVID because I was considering more like the shelter in place follow-up, but again, this is our meeting. It's very fluid. So if there's not anything really specific to talk about around COVID, we can definitely talk about houseless community. It feels like a good time to talk about houseless community. Jeremy, why don't you go for it? I'm gonna mute because there's a garbage truck behind me.
Melissa,
Okay.
oh, sorry about that. Let me say one thing that if anyone wanted to tune in our Inside Isla Vista episode last night, Grace hosted, and there's a lot of good information on COVID. She spoke with Dr. Ali, the student health director, and other reps. So we'll put the link in the chat. That's all we have. Promotion.
Thank you, Lisa. We've been really appreciating getting the news updates at the co-op also. Super helpful.
So,
Jeremy, go for it.
yeah, regarding the houselessness conversation, I want to recognize too, there's been a lot of meetings going on, and I know there are some other people that are attending those meetings. Julia Leary, I don't know if anyone from IVRPD is on right now. But Food Not Bombs has been doing food service 5 days a week and interacting quite a bit with the houseless community. We're working with RPD, with Katie Maynard and through the Garden Project on various aspects of making the park safe for the houseless and for students. But basically, the county has been preparing, I guess the most recent news and update is the county has been preparing to do a cleanup effort. We're trying to work with the houseless population directly to help them do their own cleanup, which they're really happy to do and excited about doing. So hopefully by the time the county cleanup comes around, which will be the 19th and 21st, hopefully it won't be too necessary, but that is happening, and hopefully that all goes smoothly. I don't know, Julia, I know at least has been in the county meetings on Fridays. So I don't know, Julia, if you have anything to add.
Sure. Just that this has been in the works for a while and has been a lot of different stakeholders and stuff have put input into making sure this happens in the best way possible. It is happening on the 19th and 21st, and there are going to be, different, there will be the support center, the community center in Isla Vista will be open during that time, and there will also be, I believe, staff members from United Way have said that they're going to try to be out there so they can be facilitating stuff. But yeah, and it's all in alignment with CDC recommendations for allowing people to shelter during coronavirus.
I'll add to that too, because I'm in on those meetings, is that we're also preparing a handout for the houseless encampment members to make sure they know where resources are. And there's a FAQ sort of, what if I want to XYZ? And there's the answer. So we're providing resources for them as well as cleaning. And they're being asked not to engage with the people there doing the cleaning because they're just there for that, but that there will be some outreach people available while the cleaners are cleaning, in addition to the community center and all that. So we're really trying to cover bases and not just make this about cleanup, but also about connecting to resources.
Naomi, do you know when that outreach will be done? And do you need any help from Food Not Bombs in distributing any of that information?
Well, I'm talking about during the cleaning.
Oh, you weren't talking about anything in advance?
I don't know I'm not sure what's happening in advance of it, because I know you guys helped get the word out, and I know there will be word getting out about the confirmed dates and all of that. We're meeting tomorrow to find out sort of more of the details. So I'm not sure where things stand at that detail level, but I do know that we have been talking about having outreach, people there at the camps while they're being cleaned, so that the cleaners can do their job, but that they're also a resource for the people if they have questions and they don't want to go to the community center. some of the people feel strongly they want to be there when people are, doing things with their stuff and working around their tents, and I can understand that. So we want to make sure that they have connections to outreach people as well as the handouts that we'll be giving.
I'm not super connected to these meetings or these plannings, but is there anything useful to share, some consolidated write-up of what's happening that we could share through Ivcn? Is that useful to people? Does that feel important as a sort of a reflection that, hey, this is a thing happening, hey, there's a lot of people that are really committed to the support, and that we could share about it? So the co-op would happily donate snacks for people cleaning up if y'all want.
I can bring that up in the meeting tomorrow and ask if there's something that we can prepare to send out to, this group and other interested parties.
Yeah,
So
I was just going to say we do have the resource guide that's prepared, and maybe that's the right document. Maybe it's something else, but definitely ask the group if that's something everyone would be willing to do.
It feels like a really cool moment, especially with the Nexus is doing their mail home issue. We're in a time of orientations and getting new students to really understand the value around Isla Vista and how many people care. So this feels like an interesting moment, and I think there's news on here that this could be something that's a really neat story about Isla Vista working within its own community to do support with our houseless community, and that creates a sense of seeing and being seen, and that might be just a nice timing for the new school year. I don't know if that's too much linking together, but it feels like an opportunity to share story. So that's just from the outside perspective.
Melissa, if I could just jump in, I just want to say I completely agree that it's a very unique moment, especially given COVID and giving the new restrictions on encampments and what government can do to regulate those. But I do want to add to that because I think it's a common thing that not a lot of people know. I know I didn't know for a long time. The way that folks who are experiencing homelessness transition into being able to receive housing is through this outreach process system where there are outreach workers that help folks get document ready to receive housing. And given that there is an influx and addition of new temporary housing given COVID, it's all the more important that we get people document ready. So I did want to share that the CSD board a couple of meetings ago funded an additional outreach workers specifically for Isla Vista. For those of you that joined us at the recent point in time count, we went around and sort of did a survey of folks who are experiencing houselessness right now. And one of the things that was really surprising to me is only one of the people that I talked to had been contacted by an outreach worker before and had been in the process of being able to get document ready. So we're really excited about that as a potential way of trying to help people get back on their feet in that sort of way.
I have a follow-up question on this. So on that really important note of this being for and of the community, this is being called like a FAQ, frequently asked questions. I'm just wondering, is this document responding to questions that the houseless population frequently asks, or is it just a collection of resources that we want to give them?
Combination. So when we did the point and count time, I think we were pulling information from that, and then also people who have been involved in going out, and Emily Allen from United Way is involved in the group, and so they're well versed in this, and so it was sort of it's been a group effort to put the list together, and I think some of it will be questions that maybe the houseless haven't thought of, and some is some pretty basic stuff that. Just good for them to know if they don't know.
Thanks, Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
One other slightly different piece of news regarding the houseless community, or houselessness, maybe as a general social issue these days. Emily Allen, Naomi, you just mentioned Emily Allen. She's on the Wednesday and Friday meetings, I believe, and just yesterday on the Wednesday morning meeting we have with Katie Maynard, she confirmed that United Way has had a workshop in the past, kind of a houselessness 101 type workshop, so that people who have never experienced houselessness can learn a little bit more about it. And so there's many of us in the community that were kind of liking that. And she's said that since coronavirus, obviously they haven't been doing it in person, but with about a 3-week turnaround, she could go ahead and get ready to do it online with any group that is interested in having either just being part of it individually, or if you're part of a group that is interested in having a group training and kind of like understanding houselessness, she's ready and willing to put that on. So I don't think she'd mind. I'm going to go ahead and put her email address in the chat box, and if anyone wants to email her about that houselessness 101 training, they can.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thank you all for those updates. This is such an important part of our community work, and it feels really helpful to be talking about it within like a larger group also, so that we can be, helping to really share widely what's happening and really honoring the work of so many people going in to make this something productive for our whole community. So thank you.
Melissa,
yeah.
Tagging on to that, also just sharing information and knowing what others are doing. The encampment working group is also putting together a memo right now. We're just finalizing, fine-tuning it, that talks about, what is the group been focused on, what's the purpose of the group, and then what are short-term goals and actual action items that have been done, that we plan on doing, and then longer term, and then resources. So and we've also done a little looking at what other communities have been doing, and so are there other best practices that we can model after. So that has not been released yet because we haven't finalized it, but that's something we're working on that this group might be interested in seeing when it's finalized.
Thank you. Totally, yes, agree. Sorry, I had something pop in that was distracting for a moment. Anything that, as things are being created, things like memos, things that can be shared outward, we really want to help lift up these stories and lift up the work being done. Also, because sometimes we end up not, it's hard to know the thing. Some of us is really small, but there's a lot packed into our small community. Not all of us even know the different groups that are happening, the working group, the encampment working group, all of the possible things that can really be constructing our beautiful community narrative. So sharing anything that's like anything that you think could be useful to disseminate more widely. We don't have a huge listserv. It goes out to about 150 people, but it is a unique group of people that have chosen to keep their eye on Isla Vista in some way, caring, whether as a stakeholder, somebody that wants to do good, students that are finding out about Ivcn when they get here and tagging to jump into this email is to be community connected. And so the more we can keep using our listserv as a place to kind of share these moments, we just want to encourage everybody. And you might not realize that somebody else might be interested in what you're working on, but as I'm seeing more student requests that are like, hey, I'm new to Isla Vista, especially during COVID, not necessarily having many physical places to center around, it's exciting that the Ivcn is becoming one of those places paying for this. So ongoing plug for sharing any of those types of things. Thank you guys. Anything further on houseless community or COVID?
I'd like to share just a little piece of information. Those of you who know that I've been involved in feeding Alpha Resource and their caregivers for 18 years. And with them being shut down, a few of us said, let's try and do some box lunches for the homeless in IV. We took a walk along IV, and those of us who know quite a few of them know them by sight, but we saw some young people there who were homeless, and we decided to talk to them. Of the 5 we spoke to, one was from Pennsylvania, the other was from Washington, and one from LA. And then I just thought, with all this going on, did anyone notice the increase of the number of homeless in Ivy? And also, did the number all come from outside Santa Barbara County? And I began questioning a lot in downtown in my stores, and everyone I questioned were outside from Santa Barbara. And that's really surprising. Maybe the word goes around that we take care of our homeless really good. And that has added to the increase, which is good. But I wondered if you all saw the impact of this in Ivy.
If you don't mind if I respond to that, there's actually been some multiple surveys happen in this year alone, from January to June. There were 2 different surveys and showed that actually the number of houseless people in Isla Vista has decreased. And it was mainly specifically people living in their cars that decreased, but also people living in the parks decreased as well. And there are also some statistics for Santa Barbara as a whole that show that around 75% of people who are houseless in this area do come from Santa Barbara County originally. So it's interesting that anecdotally that those things can come up, but as a whole, this is research that has been done, and it does show that generally there has not been an increase in people coming from out of town. And even if there was, that people do have like kind of an equal right to be accessing resources that we have here.
Also request that the results of the surveys be shared with this group.
That's a great idea.
If anybody that wants to also take point on any of these follow-ups and conversations, we can have other folks leading agenda items and also tracking to make sure that we're following up with the right folks to get things sent back to Ivcn that feel important. So if you are someone that wants to be more, taking, I wouldn't say taking point, but helping to sort of steer ongoing agenda items or ensuring that we follow up properly, feel free to email. It's really great to have folks from different spheres kind of contributing towards these nuggets around our community. If that makes sense. So thank you, Vera, for that. Anything else relating to COVID or houseless before we move forward into other updates? Okay. Awesome.
Melissa, I just had one thought. I don't know, excuse me, I was thinking about the updates that Lisa and KCSB send out, and I did see something there from our Director of Student Health about just his concern of the possibility of what a major eruption of COVID in Isla Vista would look like in terms of the numbers. That was definitely shocking to think about, the worst case scenario. And I don't know if folks generally have had access to that information, or if it would be helpful I can post it on the chat and pull it from that email. I just think it's sobering to think about.
I think you should share it. I haven't seen it, so that would be a nice one for us to.
I can hop into. Oh, go ahead, Grace. You want to hop in and say what?
Yeah. So I'm able to comment on that. So Dr. Ali, whom I interviewed on Tuesday, shared how the reports will look like in the way that the scientific data shows that if we continue to act how we're doing and not implement increased social distancing behaviors, and if most people come back, there is the potential in fall quarter for a mass increase of people getting infected, and he was saying thousands, about 500 to 600 plus hospitalizations, and they predicted that could come up to 9 deaths for students in fall quarter. One thing that I thought was very important is that it's really to be able to get this information out to students and to be able to get it across in a way that is easy to understand, non-biased, straight to the point, because us as a community and looking at how we not even implement social distancing, but the lack of understanding, not understanding, but just there is not as much social distancing, especially with the high density of Isla Vista. This is what it could look like. And so this is what Dr. Ali did state to me the other day. He's the medical director of student health at UCSB.
Thank you for that, Grace.
Sorry, excuse me, the lieutenant had to jump off the meeting, and so we were just chatting. Thank you for that, Grace. I think this particular conversation is obviously something at the co-op we're talking about this on a daily basis. We are pretty concerned and continuing to think through what we'll need to do as a business that does tend to bring people in like a larger quantity as students come back. And so, you know, we're definitely tracking and wanting to be a part of any of the, you know, whatever we can do to help. Really about masks.
Yeah.
That we're coming out with to help sort of try to take away like the political pieces and just sort of go to the greater good equalizer and say like,
yeah.
So, you know, yeah.
So the story that we did attach, the SoundCloud link, it did start off with Dr. Lee explaining the medical aspect and the scientific aspect of COVID-19 in Isla Vista. And then I did talk with one of the community resource or one of the deputies or officers at Isla Vista Foot Patrol, Justin Schroeder. One of the big issues at the moment is how you can implement, because it's such uncharted territory of being in a pandemic. Like we do have orders and we do have public health safety orders, but how does UCSB versus more like the county and how that's all playing a role? And so I am really pro educating, and everyone needs to decide for themselves, but understand the severity of the situation with facts. And then lastly, I talked to the lawyer, Robin Unander. And one thing that we thought would be really good is making health packs templates, because if a student with their current housemates or roommates come up with a list of rules regarding social distancing or COVID, going out, how many times, and then they do sign it, if they do decide to go forward with attempting to break a lease, they are able, that is seen as a legal document.
I think as we move forward and we hold these meetings bi-weekly instead of weekly, it'll be really important as your entity or areas that you're tracking start to work on things like this. Another, like, you know, similar to what you were saying before, ensuring that we're able to use the CN Facebook page and the listserv as a place to just disseminate this really critical information. And so this is an ongoing, obviously it's really uncharted, that's a good word. And so I think all of us together through our different areas and how we're doing things, this is a great, you know, centering point. So Grace, thank you. And thank you for your willingness to share this widely via KCSB. It's really important and it feels really timely.
Well, thank you so much. And if anyone has any questions, or feel free to contact Lisa or me.
Okay, thank you. It's 10 to 1. And so I'm gonna, if there's not questions, or we can use the chat for questions maybe. So I want to make sure we have enough time to talk through the last couple of things. So I put on a time for an AS update. If we have AS still on the call, I think Yasmin's still here.
Yeah, just a quick update. We've been working closely with Pardal Center to distribute the thermometers, and hopefully we can distribute them at the different businesses in IV and also the res halls by next week. We're also working on a AS and IV resources guide, which would be for both students and long-term residents. And hopefully we can have that out next week or the week after. And lastly, we're working with Pardal Center to pass out flyers to businesses and direct them to the distribution points of thermometers and masks so we can reach more people.
Thanks so much, Yasmin.
And if I could just add one more thing, Yasmin, to tail on that. We're also sending out, in collaboration with a lot of our partners, the CSD, with community housing, with a number of different departments, communication to our residents through the property owners, just about the social distancing, kind of a physical distancing social solidarity campaign, kind of building off of the Beloved Community work. And then we're going to also be expanding the Beloved Community messaging in a physical way in Isla Vista over the rest, over these coming months, so that we kind of step up the amount of messages that are out there around COVID. So just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Diana. Any questions for AS? Any updates? Awesome. So then we have about 10 minutes left to move into law enforcement. Unfortunately, Juan had to jump off the call. Mark shared in the chat Juan's write-up on community policing. I didn't get a chance to read it in full. It's a very interesting reflection on steps that have been taken in Isla Vista over the past period of time to sort of show areas of distinction and things that are already sort of being integrated within. And so it's a cool document. And I think Juan will probably want to follow up for a longer meeting, to be in our next meeting to talk about it in more full. But for now, let's move into other updates from law enforcement. We still have UCPD on at least. You guys have anything for us?
I have no new updates. I hope everyone can hear me with this mask on. But just in regards to Commander Camareno's email they sent, we too have something similar to that we posted on our website. It's called the Annual Security Report. We've been doing a community outreach thing as well, and so if anyone wants to review that, they're able to look at it on our website. And I'll put the link in the chat box here in a bit.
Perfect. Thanks, Gary. Is there any other law enforcement still on the call? Okay. Perfect. Well, we'll follow up. I know that Juan does want to follow up around the neighborhood watch. I know that the name is not the most favored, but there is conversations to be had because Foot Patrol is hoping to make movement on this idea that they were already trying to implement prior to Black Lives Matter events of the summer. And so I think there'll be an interesting opportunity for more engagement with the CN to help Juan and Justin sort of understand how to make this move forward in the best possible way. So that should be something upcoming.
I'm actually working with Juan on that.
Okay, great.
And so Joan and Juan and I have been talking, and we're using the working title because we agree Neighborhood Watch is we don't want to go in that direction. So the working title is IV Together.
Oh, cute.
And really it's about not just neighborhood watch, because I think people think of that in a very narrow way, and I don't want to take too much time, but really looking at it more comprehensively at what I've talked about in these meetings before, I believe, about how do we create this sense of community and IV for new people coming in, and what is so wonderful about our community? What are the resources in our community? What are the different aspects of our community? How can you be a responsible addition to our community? And then really looking at devolving responsibility, from law enforcement so re-envisioning public safety, devolving it from law enforcement into more of neighborhood resiliency and neighborhood responsibility. So he and I are going to be talking at length this coming week, and then there's further discussion to be had about it, but I think it's moving in a good direction, and I wish that I could keep updating the group on it, but that will be Gina that will be updating the group on that, and Juan.
Thank you for that update. I think that for me, at least, it feels clarifying. It's nice to know how things are being considered. really hard to fit all the things into one thing. And so this will be a cool, hopefully collaborative project. And I know Juan has a really big interest in making sure it feels really good for everyone. So thank you for that update. And I know that we'll have more coming.
Definitely collaborative is going to be the key, because we don't want it to be this is law enforcement telling you this is what's going to happen. It's really going to be more, as you said, a collaborative effort, and so that's what we're looking at.
Thanks, Naomi. I put on here IVCSD Police Brutality Working Group update. I know there was a CSD meeting this week, so I just popped it on. I don't know if anybody wants to talk about that or any CSD updates or any other BLM follow-up updates if anybody hasn't had a chance to talk about things in a while. Anyone?
Yeah, Melissa, I can give a quick update on our board. At the last board meeting, one of the things that our board did was voted to take a position on an assembly bill that is proposed by the California Legislative Black Caucus that would allow counties to implement oversight boards oversight boards for their sheriff's office. The sheriffs in California across the state are very powerful and not very accountable to the public. And with a lot of the recent, movement of Black Lives Matter, we've really heard the community demand that they want a bigger say in how public safety is done, and they want it to be more of a collaborative effort from that policy perspective as well as from the community perspective. And so that's something that our board voted to support, and we will definitely be closely tracking it in the future. And we continue to encourage everyone to provide input to our board on these matters. It's an ongoing discussion. We are hoping to file a records request to get some more data so that we can have a more informed community discussion about public safety. And so our staff has been working with UCPD on that and the sheriff's office as well. So I'll keep it brief since I know we're up against the hour, but that's some of the things we've been working on.
Spencer. Are there any questions for Spencer or more information needed?
I have no questions for Spencer, but I just want to add something. The Santa Barbara Chamber of Commerce, because a lot of businesses, we were failing to get gloves and other PPPs for our co-workers. The Santa Barbara Chamber of Commerce was giving out a whole lot for the Santa Barbara businesses. I called them and asked them if they wouldn't mind helping the IV businesses. And they sent yesterday, to direct relief PPPs for the IV area and Goleta. Sadly enough, the communication totally broke down in that when I called direct relief, they said nothing was going to happen. And I reconfirmed it, but sadly enough, it did happen. And none of our businesses got what we would have what we needed, which is gloves. If anyone knows where we could get gloves are at the moment the most important thing. We are able to get masks and other items. Please let us know.
Veer, I'll ping you after the meeting. We might still have access through our distributors for gloves. Also, I missed Ash, who went on to Stack. So Ash, why don't you go before we're out of time?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm running for IV RPD board, and I thought I don't know if it'll be a competitive campaign, but I thought I could use it as an opportunity to reach out to community networks, especially this one, for input and dreaming together about what we'd like to see from the parks. Yeah.
So Ash, actually, you've won. You're not on the ballot because only 3 people are running and there are 3 seats.
Okay, but I still want to do this, right?
Okay, I'm just saying you're not certain if it's a competitive race. Congratulations, Ash.
Okay.
Oh wait, let's let Ash campaign because through Ash's community might just get better.
Town hall.
Melissa's right. I'm sorry, Ash. You're not getting my vote unless you manage to sell us on this.
On that note, we are at 1 p.m. I did see a question for law enforcement from Jeremy about county sheriff making an arrest of an attempted robbery suspect near Anoscoyo. I'm not sure if UCPD has information about that.
I'm just trying to reply to Jeremy in the chat. Because it was the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department that made that arrest, we really don't have any information as far as what you do. I read it on the Ed Hat article too, but I'm not sure what happened. But I would try to contact Lieutenant Camarena or Justin. They would definitely be able to get you that information as well.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you.
On that note, unless anybody has something that has been unsaid, we'll close our meeting for this week. Resuming in 2 weeks as of right now, but please check your email just to verify. And again, if you're interested in jumping in to facilitate this exciting meeting, shoot us an email. Thank you everybody so much. And thank you, Naomi, if we don't get to see your face next time. Have a good week, everyone. See you soon. Bye. Thank you guys. Later. Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye. Thank you. See you later, guys.